They say a warrior's greatness is measured not by the battles he wins, but by the battles he chooses to fight within himself. Long before the world spoke his name with reverence, before his legend spread across Japan like whispers carried by the wind, Miyamoto Musashi understood a truth that most people today have forgotten. Discipline is not about force. It is about alignment. It is about shaping the inner world so clearly, so purposefully, that every action becomes inevitable, every decision becomes calm, and every outcome becomes a reflection of an unmoving mind. This is the secret Japanese discipline that made Musashi unstoppable, a discipline so quiet and unglamorous that most modern people overlook it. They seek motivation, quick hacks, bursts of energy. Musashi sought something else, something deeper, something permanent. A state where the mind no longer hesitates, the spirit no longer wavers, and the body no longer fights against itself. While others sharpened their blades, he sharpened his awareness. While others trained for strength, he trained for stillness. While others prepared for battle, he prepared for presence. If you walk this same path of inner discipline, subscribe to the Zen warrior. You must imagine Musashi not as the legend carved in history books, but as a young, wandering warrior, alone on a dusty road, carrying nothing but an unshakable intention. No wealth, no allies, no fixed home. What he had was a mind that refused to scatter. This is where his discipline began, not with swords, but with solitude. He noticed something most of us feel daily but rarely acknowledge. People are exhausted, not because life is difficult, but because their minds are noisy. They are drained not because they lack strength, but because they leak it through distraction, comparison, and emotional clutter. Musashi spent years stripping away this noise. He practiced a discipline the Japanese would later describe through words like mushin, no mind, and fudoshin, immovable heart. But the truth behind these words is not mystical. It is human. It is psychological. It is available to anyone willing to train the way Musashi once did. He realized that a person who cannot command their attention cannot command their life. And so he walked into forests and trained until his breath aligned with the wind. He painted calmly until his hand moved with precision, without fear of mistakes. He meditated until the boundary between thought and action dissolved. He fought duels not to prove dominance, but to test whether his mind remained still when others tried to break it. This is why Musashi never lost. His opponents trained their bodies. He trained the space between thoughts. Modern people struggle here the most. Thousands of desires pulling them in different directions. Endless tasks. Constant noise. Musashi understood that a scattered mind creates a scattered life. So he did the opposite. He simplified. He cut away everything that weakened his presence. He lived with less so he could become more. And over time, he developed the central discipline that made him unbeatable, the discipline of single intent focus. This doesn't mean intensity. It means purity. Imagine waking every day with one clear priority instead of 10. Imagine a mind so grounded that nothing trivial could shake it. Imagine the energy you would reclaim if you weren't constantly pulled from your center by every passing urge, notification, or emotion. This is the state Musashi cultivated, a deep, unwavering commitment to his path, unchanged by the world around him. But this discipline is not loud. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself to the world. It grows in silence, in the small choices, in the moments where nobody is watching. Musashi wasn't extraordinary because he had superhuman talent. He was extraordinary because he mastered ordinary moments, breathing, thinking, moving, until they became aligned with his purpose. And this alignment made him frighteningly consistent. He didn't rely on motivation. He didn't wait for inspiration. His discipline was built into his bones, quiet, constant, and unbreakable. Today, many people want to be unstoppable, but they try to build their strength from the outside in. Musashi built his from the inside out. Before he touched a sword, he disciplined his mind. Before he stepped into conflict, he disciplined his emotions. Before he made decisions, he disciplined his awareness. And this is where your own transformation begins, not with force, but with returning to the still center within yourself. You must learn to notice when your mind drifts. You must learn to pause instead of react. You must learn to bring your attention back again and again until presence becomes a habit. This is the discipline Musashi practiced every day of his life, Not a single lesson, not a ritual performed once, but a lifetime of coming back to himself. And in this quiet, repetitive return, something extraordinary happens. Stress melts. Fear loses its grip. You stop trying to control the world and start mastering the only battlefield that matters, your inner landscape. This is the foundation of Musashi's undefeated life. And it is the same foundation that can make you unshakable in your own world, even if your battles are not fought with swords, but with responsibilities, ambitions, and the weight of your own expectations. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to the Zen Warrior. Be calm, be strong, be present. Musashi often said that the enemy is not the person standing in front of you, sword drawn. The enemy is the hesitation inside your own mind. And when you truly understand this, the world begins to feel different. Ordinary moments expand. Noise settles. Your awareness sharpens until you start to see life the way a seasoned warrior sees a battlefield. Clearly, quietly, without distortion. To cultivate this inner clarity, Musashi practiced something rare. He allowed himself to be alone without being lonely. He walked through villages with the same calm presence he carried into duels. He slept under the same sky that covered kings and peasants. But he never envied anyone, never compared himself, never sought approval. His discipline was not about forcing himself to be strong. It was about releasing everything that made him weak. And the truth is, most of our weakness comes not from lack of ability, but from the stories we tell ourselves. Stories that say, I'm not ready, I'm not enough, I need more time. Musashi destroyed these illusions, the same way he destroyed his opponents, with precision. He didn't try to silence negative thoughts, he simply stopped identifying with them. They were just clouds drifting across a sky that never changed. Thoughts passed, his presence remained. This ability to separate himself from his thoughts is what allowed him to act with terrifying decisiveness. When he stepped onto a duel ground, he wasn't battling emotion, he wasn't battling fear, he wasn't battling doubt. Those were already defeated long before he arrived. His opponents were fighting two enemies, him and themselves. Musashi was fighting none. That was his advantage, the invisible discipline. But Musashi didn't learn this overnight. It came from years of witnessing how his own mind tried to trick him. Even the greatest warriors face moments of fear. Even the strongest men battle uncertainty. Musashi's genius was that he realized these moments aren't a sign of weakness, they're opportunities to practice mastery. When fear rose, he breathed deeper. When anger appeared, he slowed down. When pride crept in, he humbled himself. Not because he wanted to be virtuous, but because he understood that emotions left unchecked become chains that bind the warrior's mind. So he trained a habit that few people today ever attempt. The habit of noticing. Notice the tension in your hands when you speak. Notice the tightness in your chest before difficult tasks. Notice the tiny spark of irritation when someone disagrees with you. Notice the way your attention jumps from thought to thought like a restless horse. Musashi believed that noticing is the first cut, the one that separates the unconscious self from the conscious warrior. When you notice without reacting, without judging, without suppressing, you reclaim control over your own spirit. This is the seed of discipline. Not rigid rules, not strict routines, awareness. Modern life numbs this awareness. We drown ourselves in noise, in speed, in constant stimulation, and the more we disconnect from our inner world, the more life feels chaotic. This is why Musashi seems almost mythical today, not because he was born extraordinary, but because he mastered something ordinary, something available to anyone willing to slow down long enough to face their own mind. There is a story told about Musashi during his early travels. He was once invited to stay at a small village monastery after defeating a local bandit who had been terrorizing farmers. The monks admired him, but they also sensed a storm brewing inside him, a young warrior burning with ambition, hungry for recognition. That night, an old monk asked him a simple question. If your sword becomes stronger but your mind becomes heavier, is that victory or loss? Musashi didn't answer. But that question haunted him for years. It dug into him like a splinter, forcing him to examine not just how he trained, but why. He realized something powerful. Discipline without direction becomes torment. Strength without purpose becomes chaos. Focus without meaning becomes obsession. And so he shifted his entire life's path, not toward fame, not toward reputation, but toward mastery in its purest, quietest form. This is why you must understand, the discipline that made Musashi unstoppable wasn't a technique, it wasn't a tactic, it wasn't even a philosophy. It was a way of being, a constant returning to presence, a refusal to act from impulse, a commitment to moving through life one breath at a time, fully aware, fully grounded, fully alive. He trained himself to remain centered no matter what happened. If insulted, he stayed calm. If threatened, he stayed calm. If praised, he stayed calm. If ignored, he stayed calm. And from this serenity came a paradoxical power. Nothing could provoke him. Nothing could push him off balance. His inner world became so stable that his outer world bowed before it. This stability is what you must cultivate. Not perfection, not force, not control. Stability. The quiet confidence that comes from knowing you will not abandon yourself under pressure. When you build this, challenges shrink. Noise fades. Decisions simplify. Life feels lighter, not because it is easy, but because you have become steady. This is how Musashi walked into 60 duels and left all of them alive, not through brute strength, but through unwavering clarity. He didn't fight to win, he fought to express mastery. And mastery does not fear outcomes, it simply acts. As Musashi matured, the discipline that shaped his mind began to shape his life in every direction. He understood something that most people never realize until it's too late. Your daily actions are not separate from your destiny. They are your destiny. What you repeat becomes who you are. What you practice becomes your nature. And so he created a rhythm for living, quiet, intentional, stripped of everything unnecessary, because he knew that chaos in one's environment breeds chaos in one's spirit. Every morning, before the sun rose, Musashi sat in stillness. No grand ritual, no ceremonial posture, just breath, in, out, slow, present. This was the cornerstone of his discipline. Before engaging with the world, he faced himself. He believed that a warrior who begins the day in noise will carry that noise into every decision, every movement, every confrontation. But a warrior who begins the day in silence moves through the world like a calm river, steady, powerful, unstoppable. This morning's stillness was not meditation in the modern sense. It wasn't for relaxation, and for modern life. But the truth is the opposite. The world today demands Musashi's discipline more than ever. We wake up and immediately drown ourselves in stimulation. Our minds are pulled apart before we even take our first step. We multitask, we rush, we chase distractions, and then we wonder why we feel scattered and powerless. If Musashi lived today, he would not be overwhelmed, not because life would be easier for him, but because he would apply the same discipline he practiced centuries ago. He would begin the day in silence. He would protect his attention like a treasure. He would approach each task fully, not partially, and he would train his mind to move with purpose instead of reacting to every impulse. There is another layer to Musashi's daily discipline, one that few people speak about. It is his relationship with discomfort. He didn't seek suffering, but he didn't avoid it either. If the weather was cold, he walked through it. If the road was long, he continued. If food was scarce, he adapted. To him, discomfort wasn't an enemy, it was a teacher. It revealed where the mind tightens, where resistance lives, where fear hides. By accepting discomfort instead of escaping it, he built a mind that no longer panicked in difficult moments. Imagine how powerful you would become if discomfort no longer controlled you. If you could sit with boredom without reaching for your phone. If you could face uncertainty without spiraling. If you could meet pressure with calm breath instead of panic. This is not fantasy, it is a skill, and Musashi trained it every single day. His afternoon practice followed a similar principle. He would engage in activities that demanded precision, writing, carving, painting, strategizing. These weren't hobbies. They were forms of training designed to align mind and body. He believed that a warrior must be able to control not just the blade, but the hand that holds it, the breath that guides it, the mind that commands it. This philosophy is deeply psychological. When you improve your capacity for fine, deliberate actions, you improve your ability to act calmly under pressure. When you strengthen your ability to focus on small details, you sharpen your awareness of the big picture. When you master the mundane, the extraordinary becomes manageable. And perhaps the most misunderstood part of Musashi's discipline was how he ended his days. Most warriors reviewed their victories and losses. Musashi reviewed his mistakes, quietly, honestly, without shame. He believed that mistakes are like shadows. If you ignore them, they follow you everywhere. If you face them, they dissolve in the light of awareness. He would ask himself, where did I hesitate today? When did my mind wander? Why did I feel anger, pride, fear? What did my reactions reveal about the parts of me still untrained? This wasn't self-criticism. It was refinement. Like sharpening a blade millimeter by millimeter. Most people avoid self-reflection because they fear what they might find. Musashi sought it out because he knew that a warrior who hides from his flaws will eventually be defeated by them. This slow, steady cycle, morning stillness, daily awareness, embrace of discomfort, evening reflection, became the invisible architecture of his strength. It is why he remained unbeaten, not because he trained harder, but because he trained deeper. There is a moment that happens in every confrontation, physical, emotional, or internal, when time seems to slow, when the mind either becomes sharp or shatters. Musashi understood this moment better than any warrior of his era. It was not the clash of blades that determined victory. It was the state of mind held in the instant before contact. A single breath, a single heartbeat, a single point of clarity. This was where Musashi became unstoppable. He believed that the greatest weakness of any opponent was not their technique but their anticipation, the story their mind created a second before movement. Most people tense before acting. They imagine the future. They fear what may happen, and in doing so, they break the connection between intention and action. Musashi removed that gap entirely. For him, thought and movement were one. The mind did not race ahead. The body did not hesitate behind. Everything happened in the present moment, in perfect alignment. That is why his strike seemed unpredictable, not because he was fast, but because he was pure, free of hesitation, free of inner noise, free of the micro delays that sabotage most people, the quick flash of fear, the flicker of doubt, the subconscious plea for approval. These invisible stumbles weaken your spirit long before your muscles fail. Musashi eliminated them through relentless self-honesty and years of sharpening his awareness. To understand how he entered conflict without fear, you must understand another discipline he lived by, accepting death. But not in the dramatic sense people like to imagine. Musashi did not walk the earth believing he was doomed. He walked the earth understanding that fear becomes powerless when you no longer negotiate with it. He accepted that outcomes are unpredictable, that control is an illusion, that no amount of preparation guarantees victory. And in this acceptance, he found freedom. Modern psychology reflects this truth. Fear thrives in the unknown, yet the moment you acknowledge uncertainty, instead of resisting it, your nervous system relaxes. Musashi arrived at this understanding centuries ago. When he stepped onto a battlefield, he did not tell himself he would win. He told himself he would act with clarity. Winning was simply the natural consequence of that clarity. This is why he could maintain calm even when the world shook around him. He wasn't fearless. He simply wasn't controlled by fear. To cultivate this state, Musashi practiced something subtle. He taught his mind to move after perception, not before. When he saw an opening, he didn't think about it. He didn't analyze. He didn't predict. He flowed. Like a river that doesn't debate whether to move around a rock, it simply moves. This is where most people struggle today. They see opportunities but hesitate. They feel intuition but second guess. They sense danger but overthink. Musashi understood that hesitation is poison. Once you hesitate, your mind splits. You begin to occupy two worlds at once, the world of action and the world of doubt, and a divided mind cannot act with strength. To prevent this, he developed a discipline he called moving from no mind, not emptiness but unbroken concentration, not blankness but the absence of inner conflict. When he was ready, he moved. When he was not, he waited. No in-between, no internal debates, no wasted energy. This alone made him terrifying, but perhaps the most profound aspect of Musashi's undefeated mindset was his ability to stay adaptable. He believed a rigid warrior is a dead warrior. A mind fixed on one strategy becomes blind to everything else. So he trained himself to shift effortlessly, changing angles, changing timing, changing tactics, changing rhythm, until he became impossible to predict. One moment he was calm, the next he was explosive. One moment he stood still, the next he advanced with overwhelming pressure. Opponents couldn't read him because he didn't cling to patterns. He flowed with whatever the moment required. This adaptability wasn't a technique, it was a state of being. A mind unbound by expectation moves like a shadow in the wind. Modern life demands this same adaptability. Rigid plans break under pressure. Fixed identities crumble in crisis. When you cling to how things should be, you lose the ability to respond to how things are. Musashi trained himself to expect nothing and respond to everything. That is why he remained undefeated, not because he controlled circumstances, but because he mastered his response. His decision-making was equally fluid. He once wrote, "Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world." To him, this meant something very specific. Ego clouds judgment, pride blinds awareness, self-importance tightens the mind. When you cling to image or reputation, every decision becomes heavy. You fear looking wrong, you fear losing status, you fear uncertainty. Musashi dropped this burden. He moved through life with humility, which gave him speed. He saw the world clearly, which gave him precision. He understood people deeply, which gave him advantage. When ego dies, perception sharpens. When perception sharpens, strategy becomes effortless. His undefeated record wasn't the result of supernatural ability. It was the result of a mind unshackled by fear, ego, hesitation, or desire. Imagine applying this to your own life. Imagine walking into challenges without dread. Imagine making decisions without second-guessing. Imagine adapting instantly when life shifts. Imagine acting with clarity, not chaos. That is the heart of Musashi's discipline. Not violence, not bravado. Presence. A presence so powerful it makes you untouchable, not because life becomes easy, but because you become unshakable. In the final years of his life, long after his duels had ended, and his legend had already grown beyond anything he ever sought, Musashi retreated into solitude, not to escape the world, but to understand it fully. He walked away from battles because he realized the greatest conflicts were no longer outside him. They were within him, and what he discovered in this quiet period became the deepest expression of his discipline, a philosophy that shaped not only warriors, but monks, artists, leaders, and anyone seeking inner mastery. He understood that power without direction is dangerous, and discipline without meaning becomes suffering. So he turned inward to face the final challenge of every human life, the search for purpose. Not a grand mission, not a dramatic destiny, but a simple, honest alignment between the inner self and the outer world. Musashi spent days sitting by rivers, watching water flow over rocks. Unforced, unhurried, unstoppable. He realized that this was the true nature of mastery, to move through life the way water moves through a landscape, adaptable, patient, and quietly powerful. Water never asks for permission. It never doubts its path. It fills every space it enters, retreats when necessary, advances when needed. This became Musashi's final lesson, to live with purposeful flow. This principle shaped every one of his later writings. In the Book of Five Rings, he speaks about the void, not as emptiness, but as potential. The void is the space before action, the pause before intention, the quiet inside the heart when all unnecessary thoughts disappear. To Musashi, this was the ultimate discipline, learning to return to the void at will. A mind capable of emptiness is a mind capable of clarity. In that clarity, you no longer react, you simply act. But Musashi knew that philosophy alone was not enough. People crave guidance they can live, not just understand. And so he carved a code of conduct through his own behavior. He practiced humility even at the peak of his fame. He offered teachings to those who came seeking truth, not techniques. He discouraged students from idolizing him because he believed a man who imitates becomes weaker, not stronger. His discipline always pointed back to one thing: know your own nature and shape it with intention. He taught that the true warrior is not aggressive. The true warrior does not dominate. The true warrior does not seek victory over others. The true warrior seeks victory over ignorance, ignorance of self, of fear, of confusion, of the illusions that cloud human judgment. This alone makes a person unstoppable, not because they conquer others, but because no force can conquer them. Musashi once wrote that the path of a warrior is the path of acceptance. Acceptance of reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Acceptance of change. Acceptance of discomfort. Acceptance of loss. Acceptance of responsibility. This acceptance is not resignation. It is strength. When you stop resisting life, you stop wasting energy. And when you stop wasting energy, you become powerful in ways few people ever experience. This is the discipline that made Musashi invincible, the discipline of aligning with reality. He entered every duel with the same mindset he brought to everyday life. Be present, be adaptable, be honest, be steady. The blade was merely a tool. The true weapon was his mind, a mind trained to stay calm in chaos, a mind that saw clearly through fear, a mind that didn't cling to outcomes, a mind that returned again and again to the stillness at its center. You do not need a sword to practice this. You can cultivate the same inner mastery. Each morning you take a breath before checking your phone. Each moment you resist the tug of distraction. Each time you choose discipline over comfort. Each time you act from intention, not impulse. Every moment of presence is a step toward unshakability. Musashi did not become unstoppable by seeking greatness. He became unstoppable by seeking alignment. He did not seek victory, he sought clarity. And in clarity, victory revealed itself. This is the path you must walk if you want to embody the same calm strength. You don't have to change your entire life at once. Start with presence, start with breath, start with one small action done with full awareness, and repeat again and again and again. Just as Musashi did, quietly, consistently, for years, until your mind begins to steady, your spirit begins to strengthen, and your life begins to shift. Because ultimately, Musashi's greatest gift to the world wasn't his undefeated record, it wasn't his swordsmanship, it wasn't his legend. It was the reminder that a human being, through discipline and self-awareness, can become more than circumstance, more than fear, more than doubt. A human being can become someone who moves through the world with quiet certainty and purpose, someone who does not break, someone who does not rush, someone who does not tremble, someone who walks with calm, warrior-like presence. This is the secret Japanese discipline that made Miyamoto Musashi unstoppable, and it can live in you too. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to the Zen Warrior. Be calm, be strong, be present.